I love Robin Williams more than I love most people. And I've seen The World According to Garp twice now, maybe 2.5 times, and it's a film that's very well received. It was released in 1982, and it was nominated for 2 Oscars, Best Actress in Supporting Role for Glenn Close, Best Actor in Supporting for John Lithgow. Didn't win either, doesn't really matter. The film did win a couple of awards, and I thought, this has a really good rating. It's 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I thought I'd love it. But it turns out that I liked it, and certainly I loved Robin Williams in it, but I never really grasped why it's one of his more popular films. I've now seen every film he's done, and I could rank them. I should probably do a video in which I rank them all, but this one wouldn't be in the top 50% for me, whereas I feel like it would be for a lot of people. As I said, released in 1982, directed by George Roy Hill, screenplay is by Steve Tessish, hope I pronounced that correctly, based on the novel by John Irving. I haven't read the novel, but if you have, and you can comment on how it compares in terms of the narrative or the emotions, and I'd be really interested to know that. And also, of course, if you think the novel is worth reading. And Robin Williams is our character Garp. We also have Mary Beth Hurt as Helen. John Lithgow is in it. Glenn Close. Very, very well cast. I think the on-screen chemistry between everybody works well. Robin Williams is obviously fantastic, and everything he touches turns to gold. I honestly do not think that he has ever done a bad film. There are certainly films that he did that I thought were very mediocre. Never because of him. I realise I'm probably a bit biased because I worship the ground he walked on. But I do think that The World According to Garp could have been a lot more than it actually was. I'll read the description from IMDb, which doesn't give away too much. And this says, based on the John Irving novel, this film chronicles the life of T.S. Garp and his mother Jenny. Whilst Garp sees himself as a serious writer, Jenny writes a feminist manifesto at an opportune time and finds herself as a magnet for all manner of distressed women. Now, me being a writer, I love films about writers, and in that sense, I really like Garp, and I like his attitude, even though his attitude's questionable sometimes, and I like the subject matter. And I think maybe that's why it just didn't grab me too much, because I was expecting something more. Because I had a kind of rough idea of what it was about before I saw it. And I just think that maybe I was looking at this in some of the ways that Garp was, and that was not always the most positive way. So, for me, although I liked the narrative progression, I don't think it necessarily gave us some scenarios that I was expecting or that I was anticipating quite a bit. But the narrative itself is interesting. I like the narrative. I think the execution was really good. I just think for me, it didn't deliver the emotions that I was expecting. I never felt that emotionally connected to it, to be perfectly honest, which, again, I was expecting to feel that, because when it's about writing, there's always something that I can get out of it, something that I can relate to. That's certainly the case with Garp, and Garp as a character, I really enjoyed. And Glenn Close as Jenny, I really liked. Obviously a fantastic performance, fantastic all round. For me, it's just missing something, and I can't identify what that is. I think it's just the mood. The narrative was interesting, the execution, the development of it was really good, the characters were believable, their actions were realistic, I felt like they were well-rounded enough. Obviously, I don't know how it compares to the novel, but as a film on its own, it ticked all of the boxes. I don't remember the soundtrack very well, but that just means that it wasn't a bad soundtrack. Lighting, for me, I think could have been a little bit better, but this was 1982. Lighting was not always the strong point of a lot of films in the 80s. So there's nothing about it that's fundamentally bad or that I thought was done wrong or that they could have done differently. It just didn't hit the spot for me. It just was not what I wanted from this film. Not a bad film. I can see why people love it. I don't think... if somebody said this was their favourite Robin Williams film, I wouldn't understand that, unless this was the only one they'd seen. Because I can name at least 3 that are just the creme de la creme of Robin Williams. Mrs. Doubtfire, Dead Poets Society, What Dreams May Come. They are just perfect. But The World According to Garp is a good film. I will happily watch it again. I probably will watch it again at some point. Very happy to recommend it. It's not top of my list of Robin Williams films to recommend, but it's still pretty enjoyable.